Hey guys, and welcome back to another Lake of the Woods and More fishing report. We've got a lot of information to cover this week. We're going to get to it real quick before we get to the report. If you do use any of these guides or resorts, please let them know that you saw them here on the fishing report. We really dodged a bullet here this week, just south of us, not very far, pretty good dumping of snow. We don't need any more snow on our lakes here. We need to get some more ice hopefully before any of that happens, so we can, avoid the slush issues. They are dealing with some slush issues out on Devil's Lake, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's start out the report. Let's go out to West Wind Resort on Upper Red Lake out of Washish. Conditions are pretty good out there, but if you are going to travel off-road, you're going to need a track vehicle, such as a snowmobile, four-wheeler with tracks, or a snow bear of something of that sort. The 10-day weather looks pretty good. If you're going to go fishing, probably now is the time. It's a little bit above average or right around average temps for this time of year in Minnesota. Things are looking pretty good. Now, as far as the bite out on Red Lake, it's kind of a hit and miss, up and down type of deal. But there's more quality fish being caught right now. You've got some perch being caught, some crappies being caught, some big northern pike too. These fish, like the walleyes and stuff, they are a little bit more on the finicky side. It's going to be a mix of dead stick and some jigging, probably a little more on the subtle side, but don't forget about the night bite. Now, one thing that was kind of disturbing, saw some Facebook images of a bunch of waste that was dumped on a snowmobile trail near Red Lake. Guys, if you're coming off the lake with your ice castles, clean up your garbage, take care of your stuff. Don't give fishermen a bad name. That really looks bad on all of us. So just take care of your stuff. If you're looking to get out on Upper Red Lake out of Washish, West Wind Resort just got a shipment of shiners in. They've got bait and tackle, bar and grill, everything you need to make your trip a success on Upper Red Lake. If you're looking to get out that way, get in touch with West Wind Resort. Now, moving over into North Dakota, out to Devil's Lake, Bry's Guide Service. Mark says travel is a little challenging out there. Lots of snow. There are some slush pockets. Definitely want tracks for off-road travel. If you're just going out with a pickup truck, there are some places that do have plowed roads. East Bay Campground and Woodland Resort do plow roads. They do have a daily road access fee, but if you're wanting to get out fishing, you can definitely go out there with a vehicle and fish off the road. Now, as far as the bite, Mark says the perch bite is pretty steady. They're really finding them in 20 to 45 feet right now. You're going to be looking more like on flats, mud flats, and in bowls. He says covering water really is the key right now for finding perch, and electronics really help, such as the live scope or just your traditional sonar. But it's going to be a lot more work with just the traditional sonar because you're going to have to drill a bunch of holes. Now, he said he's noticed when they're finding perch in 20 to 30 feet of water, they're using more spoons tipped with minnow heads or spikes. Your best colors, white, purple, and silver. Lures such as 16th ounce or 8th ounce, buckshot rattle spoons, PK spoons, Castmasters, Lindy flyers, baits like that are going to do you good if you're fishing and finding perch. More so in that 30 to 45 foot of water range, you're going to want to probably use a smaller tungsten jig and tip that with a spike or a wax worm. He says it really helps to have a really sensitive, like a light action rod with a very sensitive tip. He says when you get in that deep of water, you're really not going to really feel that bite as much as you're going to see it on the end of your rod if you have a sensitive rod. Now, moving on to walleyes, been a little bit slower for walleyes, a little more finicky. It's that early morning, late afternoon bite still. You're definitely going to want to target areas with brush, with rocks, the old flooded roads, and channels. You're going to find walleyes anywhere from 4 to 20 feet of water. Now, target these walleyes with like an 1/8 ounce or 1/4 ounce spoon, such as the buckshot, the PK spoon, Lindy rattling flyer, Castmasters. Walleye color is going to be more like an orange, gold, or silver. If you guys are looking to get out on a guided trip for some perch or walleye in the Devil's Lake area, make sure you get in touch with Bry's Guide Service. And if you're out on Devil's Lake and you're looking for a heated cleaning shack, you're looking for convenience store items, bar and bait and tackle, fuel, propane, anything like that, make sure you check out Ed's Bar and Bait. Now, also on Devil's Lake, talking with Mike Peluso. Mike Peluso's outdoors. He is breathing a huge sigh of relief after missing this storm. He says slush is a bit of an issue. There's a lot of places that he would like to be fishing, but he cannot really get to them right now. A lot of snow. There is some slush issues, like we mentioned. Been a little bit of a battle for travel. Definitely tracks. If you're wanting to go off-road, you're not going to get off-road unless you have tracks. Now, he says, to be expected with the heavy snow on the ice, the bite has slowed. He says, you're fishing perch, your sunny days are better. He says you want to be fishing perch as shallow as you can find them. Target them with small spoons, tungstens, and tipping those tungstens with wax worms or spikes. You can get away with tipping those small spoons with minnows or minnow heads. You're going to probably want to use minnow heads. And he says if it's more of a cloudy day, you're going to probably want to stick to walleye fishing. The best bite time still is that early morning, late afternoon. But on those cloudy, dark, gloomy days, you can get walleyes to bite during the middle of the day. If you're looking for walleyes, you're going to really want to start searching around mid-depth structure. Now, Mike is pretty booked up for the month of January. He's got a couple openings left. He's got a few more in February. If you're looking to get out on Devil's Lake, chase some perch or some walleyes, make sure you get in touch with Mike Peluso from Mike Peluso's Outdoors. Now, moving back across Minnesota over to the Arrowhead, Corey from Ely Snow Bear Ice Fishing has got this report.
Hey, Corey Peterson here with Ely Snow Bear Ice Fishing up in Ely, Minnesota. Another video report this week concerning ice conditions and fishing report. I'd say as a general rule, the bigger lakes have probably the best ice conditions just because they've been so windswept. It blew a lot of that snow off the lakes or just condensed it down to remove its insulating properties. The smaller lakes still finding quite a bit of slush, but in fact the one that I'm on right now is just a few hundred acres and it's surprisingly in really nice shape. I'm not punching through with the Snow Bear into any slush that I've found yet, and finding a few really nice crappies out here. Got on a really good bite a couple days ago for crappies as well, so that's kind of what I've been concentrating on. Panfish. The pike bite, the walleye bites, not been very good, to be perfectly honest with you. Vermilion had a pretty good walleye bite for a while, and then it just kind of fizzled out. So I kind of switched gears and went after some crappies and found an absolute pile of them. Super fun bite. So I just kind of got away from that, checking out a couple other lakes in the area, see what's happening as far as some more panfish go, but that's a quick video report for this week. Quick reminder though that January 14th is when lake trout season opens and stream trout as well, but I'll be concentrating on lake trout primarily. So still plenty of openings for lake trout fishing after that opener, and so get a hold of me if you want to come up and catch some lake trout out of a Snow Bear. Thanks, and we'll talk to you next week.
Now moving up to the big lake, up to Lake of the Woods, let's go up to the northwest angle first out of Youngs Bay Resort. Talking with Richard and also being up there myself this past weekend, here's the information that we got for you. Right now, it seems to be there's more quality of fish being caught than there is quantity. Now, they're still catching pretty decent numbers. He says average 15 to 25 fish a day. But they're seeing a lot nicer walleyes. They're seeing some perch. They are seeing a few saugers, but they're also catching some really big pike right now. Now, a lot of these resort houses are kind of structure oriented or near structure off in the mud. And it's also kind of a one spot's better in the morning, one spot's better in the later afternoon and evening. These fish are always moving around. So you just kind of, if you're going up like on a portable trip by yourself, you're going to have to kind of be on the move. But once you find some fish, you usually can find some numbers in not a huge area. Now, when I talked to Richard about, what he'd been hearing for the better baits of the week, he said jig and wrap kind of seemed to be towards the top of the list. One trick you can use with a jig and wrap, if you take that treble hook off, and if you're using a minnow head, if you're tipping that jig and wrap with a minnow head, you can slide that minnow head down over the treble and reattach the treble. That will keep, when these fish are biting, they're a little more finicky, that will keep them from stealing your minnow head. It's a little more effort to put a new minnow head on, but it will save you time in the long run, and you'll probably catch a few more fish. Now, with that being said, we talked about on structure and just off of structure. Some of that more shallow shoreline stuff in the evening, not a bad idea sometimes. It's been a little bit slower from what I've been hearing in the shallower water, but there are some nice fish being caught there too. Now, I got a chance to go up into Canada. Things are looking a lot better up there. The snow has settled pretty good, very little slush. Travel conditions are pretty good on snowmobile. On the rough side, with the drifts from the heavy winds that we had here a couple weeks ago, it's drifted pretty good, so it is pretty rough. You're gonna have to take it kind of slow. I did some fishing in about 20 to 21 feet of water, trying to chase some crappies. They were pretty slow, caught a couple, but they were really tough to get them to bite. And you really couldn't even consistently get them to come off bottom. And if they would come off bottom, it seems like they just kind of wanted to look. You really, really, really had to work them. And then every so often a walleye would fly in, and the walleyes were like super aggressive. 22 feet of water is always a good depth to check on shorelines, structures, things like that up on the Canadian side of the angle. But again, you're going to be moving around, you're going to be searching, you're going to be finding fish. If you want to sit around all day in one spot, it is a lot of effort to move. You'll probably catch some fish, but you're probably going to catch some more if you're on the move. Now, talking about the snowmobile trail, they've had some issues with the groomer up at the angle. It did sound like they maybe did groom the trail on the inlet, and there is some slush spots in the inlet. Now, it doesn't sound like they were able to get out and groom the trail. I know they had some issues we talked about last week down between Queens Corner and Stony Point. So likely might be next week before they get up and going. So if you're heading up from Warroad, you're heading up from Baudette. I'm not sure how the trail is coming out of Warroad or Baudette. But when you get closer to the angle, it's, as of right now, more than likely not groomed. So it's going to be a little bit on the rough side. There's going to be already some prior tracks for you to follow, but there are a lot of drifts, so it's going to take you a little bit more time. But if you're looking to get up to the northwest angle, fishing is pretty good right now. If you're looking to just rent a room and get out on your own, or if you're looking for some guided trips, Youngs Bay Resort can hook you up. So if you're wanting to get up to the angle, make sure you get in touch with Richard from Youngs Bay Resort. All right, moving to the southeast end of Lake of the Woods, over to Baudette, talk to Marshall from Lake Road Lodge. Here's what the conditions are looking like. He said the roads are looking pretty good. If you're coming up there portable fishing and you're gonna get off the road, you're gonna need tracks, like a track four-wheeler, track snowmobile. But if you're going off the road, he said you're gonna find some slush on the sides of the roads. He said the roads are healing nice, the roads are good. They're moved out to about 30 feet of water right now. He said over the past week, the bite was a little bit slower. Their averages were down a little bit per house. He said they sent Joe out on a scouting mission to do a little pre-fishing for some fresh ice. Joe got into a bunch of walleyes and some pretty good sized ones. So they're anticipating things hopefully are going to be a little bit better this next coming week. Now they're really very happy that we dodged this huge bullet of this snowstorm. That's going to make conditions just going to keep them hopefully getting better. Now the colors that did the best over the past week, anything glow colored, and pink was a good color. Now, Marshall said if you can get in shallow, like around 15 feet of water, you're going to run into some slush as you're on the shoreline there, but he said there's a really good bite that does exist in there when you can find a good pot of fish. Now, as far as wheelhouses, right now the restrictions are they are letting out 3/4 tons up to 22-foot wheelhouses. If you're looking for a spot to park a wheelhouse, Lake Road Lodge will plow roads, but they'll only do it by reservation and they'll do a limited number. So you need to call ahead and reserve a spot, and Lake Road Lodge will plow you a road for your house. Now, as far as availability, if you're looking for a motel, you're looking for a package or a non-package trip out of Lake Road Lodge, they are full for the next couple weekends. You can call, get on a cancellation list. There's limited availability midweek, but their weekends are pretty full now for the next 3 weeks. So next week, hopefully when you come back with a fishing report out of Lake Road Lodge, all of Joe's hard work is going to pay off, and we're going to have a much better fishing report out of Baudette. So if you're looking to get up and do some ice fishing out of Baudette on Lake of the Woods, Lake Road Lodge has motel. They have package and non-package fishing trips. They can set you up in a sleeper, day house. They've got live scope rentals. They can pretty much accommodate almost any kind of trip you're wanting to do. So you want to get up that way, make sure you get in touch with Marshall from Lake Road Lodge. All right, so that's what I got for you. Just remember, if you do use any of these resorts or guides, please let them know that you saw them here on After 5 Outdoors. I appreciate you guys watching. Hope you can use this information to your benefit. Every Thursday, we get this fishing report out. Try to always get it out at 7, but sometimes it does get to be a little bit later in the day. But we usually get it out every Thursday. That being said, I hope you can get out and enjoy God's great outdoors, and we will see you on the next one.